Okay, dear students, good evening. How are you? After a long time, we have come together once again. I hope you might have enjoyed the Holi a lot. Now, my friends, once again we have to resume our class after a long time, and you very well know the fact that we have left the topic on extremism, and in this topic, starting from Indian moderate phase to extremism in Indian National Congress. The last part of this topic, particular topic was left, still left, हम लोगों ने कांग्रेस के उदारवादी चरण से उग्रवादी चरण, मॉडरेट फेज से एक्सट्रीमिस्ट फेज कवर किया था पिछले क्लास में, और कुछ उस टॉपिक का कुछ भाग बच गया था. आई एम रिकॉलिंग. बट माय फ्रेंड्स, वंस अगेन टुडे आई एम गोइंग टू स्टार्ट द क्लास. So once again I have to remind you people about our specific formula, because you are going to follow the specific formula. Only then you can do justice to the subject, this subject, or you can say the history, and particularly not simply history but even all the social sciences. The same method is required, but in history particularly you have to follow this method which I have just imparted to you people. मतलब इतिहास में हमें उस फॉर्मूला को पकड़ कर चलना है जो मैंने हिस्ट्री में मैंने आपको बताया है, उसको मिस नहीं करना है. आप वंस अगेन यू हैव टू रिकॉल, वी हैव टू डिवाइड हिस्ट्री इन 4 पार्ट्स. द फर्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द हिस्ट्री सिलेबस इज द फर्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ आवर यू कैन से फार्मूला इज द हिस्ट्री ऑफ 18th century. द सेकेंड वन पार्ट इज द हिस्ट्री ऑफ colonialism. द थर्ड पार्ट इज द हिस्ट्री ऑफ nationalism, and the fourth part is the post independence era. We have already finished the topic, like the history of 18th century. Then we have finished the topic like colonialism. Now we have entered into the, you can say, part third, that is part third, that is the history of nationalism, that is the part third. And we are going across this part third, mean कि the history of nationalism, मतलब हम लोग राष्ट्रवाद के इतिहास को कवर कर रहे. और मैंने हर पार्ट में आई हैव स्पेसिफिकली गिवन टू यू सम डायग्राम, एंड यू पीपल हैव टू फॉलो द डायग्राम. This is the part third, and you have to follow the diagram, and according to the diagram you have to work. That will give you a mind map. Then you have to follow the paragraph to paragraph. So in the history of nationalism we have the first sub part we have covered. First subtopic, you can say first topic, that is the proto-nationalist movement, that was having the 3 subparts. You very well know the fact that civil rebellion, tribal movement, and the peasant movement. Then we moved to the first war of independence, that was the history of you can say the great revolt of 1857. मतलब हम लोगों ने फिर राष्ट्रवाद के इतिहास को कवर किया. राष्ट्रवाद के इतिहास में पहला हमारा एरिया था प्रोटो नेशनलिस्ट रिवोल्ट, प्रोटो नेशनलिस्ट मूवमेंट, और उसमें हम लोगों ने 3 सब पार्ट को कवर किया. फिर हमने द फर्स्ट वॉर ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस, भारत के प्रथम स्वतंत्रता आंदोलन को कवर किया जो 1857 का रिवोल्ट था. एंड देन वी हैव मूव टू द राइज ऑफ मॉडर्न नेशनलिज्म, एंड इन द राइज ऑफ मॉडर्न नेशनलिज्म वी हैव सक्सेसफुली कवर्ड द टॉपिक द सोशियो रिलीजियस रिफॉर्म्स मूवमेंट ऑफ 19th century, 19वीं सदी का समाज एवं धर्म सुधार आंदोलन. देन वी हैव मूव फ्रॉम द सोशियो कल्चर मूवमेंट टू पॉलिटिकल मूवमेंट. हम लोग सामाजिक धार्मिक आंदोलन से, सामाजिक सांस्कृतिक आंदोलन से राजनीतिक आंदोलन की तरफ आए, जिसमें हमने केवल उसका फर्स्ट पार्ट कवर किया. दैट इज द फाउंडेशन ऑफ इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस, द कंट्रोवर्सी एसोसिएटेड विद द फाउंडेशन ऑफ द कांग्रेस, दैट इज नोन एज द फेमस कोट सेफ्टी वॉल थियरी, सुरक्षा कपाट की अवधारणा और कांग्रेस का उद्भव, कैसे कांग्रेस की स्थापना हुई, पहला हम लोगों ने डील किया. देन वी हैव टू डिस्कस द हिस्ट्री ऑफ the Indian national movement between 1885 to 1907. Then we have drawn 2 different arrows. The first arrow is the progress of nationalism, and the second arrow is the progress of communalism. तो progress of nationalism में हम लोगों ने कवर किया the moderate phase of politics under Indian National Congress, and the second one phase is the extremist phase, and we have covered the extremist phase as well. So almost up to the split, Congress split at Surat, we have finished the topic. Then we have to move towards the topic like द प्रोग्रेस ऑफ कम्युनलिज्म. व्हाट इज कम्युनलिज्म? आई हैव डिस्कस्ड विथ यू प्रीवियसली. मैंने आपको कम्युनलिज्म के टॉपिक को, जिसको संप्रदायवाद बोलते हैं, हम लोगों ने उस टॉपिक को भी स्टार्ट कर दिया था. उसमें कुछ चीजें हमने कवर की थी. इधर हमने राष्ट्रवाद की प्रगति में मॉडरेट फेज ऑफ कांग्रेस को कवर किया था और एक्सट्रीमिस्ट फेज ऑफ कांग्रेस को कवर किया था, मतलब उग्रवादी चरण कांग्रेस का. ये दोनों एरिया को हम लोगों ने कवर किया था. बट माय फ्रेंड्स, फ्रॉम मूविंग फर्दर आई हैव ब्रॉट 5 MCQ क्वेश्चन ऑफ विच यू पीपल हैव बीन ग्रेट एक्सपर्ट्स. But today I have to find out whether you have simply you can say enjoyed your time in holidays, or have you continued your study as well, and at least you are mentally alert today to answer my questions. Questions are slightly challenging, some of the questions among the 5, but I hope you people will cover 5 out of 5 questions. So we have to move further. Who gave the 4-point program? Go through it. Who gave the 4-point program Boycott, Swadeshi, Swaraj and National Education to the Indian National Movement for the first time? दादा भाई नौरोजी, बाल गंगाधर तिलक, महात्मा गांधी और अरविंद घोष. मतलब किसने कांग्रेस के 4-point प्रोग्राम दिया? कांग्रेस की जो 4 सूत्रीय कार्यक्रम को सबसे पहले किसने इंट्रोड्यूस किया? 4 नाम है, आपको उनमें से चुनना है किसी एक नाम को. क्वेश्चन बिल्कुल स्ट्रेट है, यू हैव टू फाइंड आउट. बी फास्ट. My friends, possibly in the previous class I have given you some information, but you people have possibly not taken notice of my suggestion. Actually, this great personality was Aurobindo Ghosh, who in his famous journal Vande Mataram, just you can say formulated all the programs I have told you earlier. If you are going to make a deduction of non-violence, you are going to make a deduction of violence from this program, or you are going to make an addition of non-violence in these programs, so that will be completely a Gandhian program in future. It was Aurobindo Ghosh who introduced the 4-point program, and later the program evolved further under Gandhi in the so-called Gandhian program. ये जो 4 सूत्री कार्यक्रम है, इसका श्रेय आप अरविंदो घोष को दीजिए, क्योंकि अपने वंदे मातरम नामक पत्र में अरविंदो घोष ने 1905 में 1905 में ही वो पूरी योजना रख डाली थी, जिसे आप कहते हो पैसिव रेजिस्टेंस. ये जो 4 प्रोग्राम है, दैट इज द टाइप ऑफ पैसिव रेजिस्टेंस. वो निष्क्रिय प्रतिरोध उसको बोलते हैं हिंदी में. अरविंदो घोष इज द करेक्ट आंसर. मिस्टर अंकुर, हैव एनीबडी सिलेक्टेड चॉइस नंबर डी और नॉट? Many students have selected choice number D. Okay. Who among the following told that the Congress represents only the microscopic minority? Who among the following told that the Congress represents only microscopic minority? मतलब इसमें से किसने कहा कि कांग्रेस महज मुट्ठी भर अल्पसंख्यकों का प्रतिनिधित्व करती है? ये किस वायसराय ने स्टेटमेंट दिया है, आपको फाइंड आउट करना है. Be fast. Lord Dufferin. Yes, Lord Dufferin is the correct answer. You people have just selected the right choice. Thank you very much. Question number 3. What was the main reason behind the split of the Indian National Congress in 1907? मतलब आपसे पूछा जा रहा है कि सूरत में कांग्रेस के विभाजन के निम्नलिखित में क्या कारण था? ए, प्रमोशन ऑफ कम्युनलिज्म इन इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स बाय लॉर्ड मिंटो, मतलब लॉर्ड मिंटो के द्वारा संप्रदायवाद को प्रोत्साहन दिया जाना. बी, fundamental differences in the approach of moderates and that of extremists on the issue of resistance against the British rule. ब्रिटिश शासन के विरुद्ध किए जाने वाले प्रतिरोध के मुद्दे पर उदारवादी उग्रवादियों के बीच मतभेद. चॉइस नंबर सी, फाउंडेशन ऑफ मुस्लिम लीग की स्थापना. एंड चॉइस डी, अरविंदो घोष इनएबिलिटी टू गेट इलेक्टेड एज द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ द इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस. मतलब अरविंदो घोष का भारतीय राष्ट्रीय कांग्रेस के अध्यक्ष के पद पर निर्वाचित ना हो पाना. They are the 4 choices. Choices are clear. You people have to select one of them. Choice number B is the correct answer. Yes, you are correct. Students, you are correct. Very good. Choice number B is the correct answer. Question number 4. This is a bit challenging because you people have to depend over your memory. How far you are doing justice to this question, I am myself is curious. Arrange the following events in chronological order in ascending manner. You have to find out the 4 choices and you have to put the choices in chronological manner in ascending manner, in chronological order in ascending manner. मतलब आपको कालक्रम के अनुसार बढ़ते हुए क्रम में सजाना है, घटते हुए क्रम में नहीं, बढ़ते हुए क्रम में. Point 1, कलकत्ता यूनिवर्सिटी एक्ट. 2, पंजाब लैंड एलिनेशन एक्ट. 3rd, बंगाल टेनेंसी एक्ट. एंड 4, कलकत्ता कॉर्पोरेशन एक्ट. मैंने कलकत्ता यूनिवर्सिटी एक्ट जानते होंगे, पंजाब लैंड एलिनेशन एक्ट आई हैव जस्ट मेंशन मेनी टाइम्स, you know, and Bengal Tenancy Act. Bengal Tenancy Act, you already know the 2 tenancy acts, you have to mention about the last one. And point 4, Calcutta Corporation Act. So my students, be fast and try to find out. Try say 2134, B 3412, C 3421 and D 3214. Maximum D. Right. 3, अब देखो 1885 पंजाब लैंड एलिनेशन एक्ट. ओके. 1899 कलकत्ता कॉर्पोरेशन एक्ट. 1899 and Calcutta University Act 1904. So my students, अब now question arises कि which one should be given the first priority? Either the point number 4 occurred first or the point number 2. So here my students, your answer should be 324 and 32 you can say 3214. That should be your answer. So 3214, it is the single one choice you people have to select. अब suppose you can say कि 3 is the Bengal Tenancy Act is the much earlier, but you are having some SPS. This is question is originally in UPSC. अब here suppose you are going to select, suppose कि 3412, because there is no choice, there is no alternative to, you can say point number 3rd, because point number 3rd Bengal Tenancy Act which occurred earlier, you know, much earlier. So you have to select this choice. Now if you have to select this choice, so there may be a confusion between Punjab Land Alienation Act and Punjab Corporation Act, you know. So there may be. So you can select the 3214 Calcutta Punjab Land Alienation Act. No, my students, just 1 minute. Better to select choice number B, 34. Calcutta Corporation Act, Bengal Tenancy Act, then Calcutta Corporation Act, then Punjab Land Alienation Act, because that is in 1899-1900, that is the time period finally, and then finally you can say Calcutta University Act 1904. So this is really a challenging question because there is a very slight difference between the two. It is very difficult to find out the correct answer in this case. Even if you might have committed some mistake, I am giving you just the waiver. For that you should not be held responsible, because this question was going to be slightly complicated. मतलब ये क्वेश्चन इतना जटिल था कि अगर आपने गलती भी की होगी तो इसमें मुझे कोई अफसोस नहीं है, क्योंकि इन दोनों के बीच सेलेक्ट करना बहुत मुश्किल है. अच्छा 3412, अच्छा सॉरी 34 बिकॉज 1 है ना, तो 1 कलकत्ता यूनिवर्सिटी एक्ट 1904, तो 1 पहले और बाद में 2 तो नहीं होगा. तो हियर द आंसर इज, यू नो, सी. C is the correct answer, right? C is the correct answer because 3 means Bengal Tenancy Act, then 4 Calcutta Corporation Act, then 2 Punjab Land Alienation Act, and then 1 Calcutta University. Mistakenly, actually, I have not have the choice. So, according to this one, you have to move further. Choice number C is the correct answer, right? Question number 5. This is reasoning. You have to be mentally alert in this reasoning. अब आप लोगों को mentally alert रहना है इस reasoning में कि इसको how to deal with this reasoning. Due to the partition of Bengal in 1905, the influence of extremists increased in the Indian National Congress. मतलब आपसे पूछा जा रहा है कि बंगाल का जो विभाजन 1905 में हुआ, इस कारण से जो एक्सट्रीमिस्ट एलिमेंट्स है उसका प्रभाव कांग्रेस में बढ़ गया. एसर्शन है रीजनिंग. The सूरत सेशन ऑफ द इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस सेपरेटेड द एक्सट्रीमिस्ट फ्रॉम द मॉडरेट्स. मतलब जो सूरत में जो कांग्रेस का अधिवेशन हुआ उसमें जो उदारवादी उग्रवादी दोनों एक दूसरे से अलग हो गए. ये रीजनिंग में है. नाउ वी हैव टू फाइंड आउट द राइट चॉइस एंड चॉइस ए बी सी डी आर मच क्लियर टू यू पीपल. कि चॉइस ए both are correct and R is the correct explanation for A. B both are true but region R is the not a correct explanation of assertion. A assertion is true and region is false. Assertion is false and the region is true. Yes, you guys are really smart. You have just taken a very smart choice, because in this question I was a bit apprehensive. You people will choose choice number A. And many of you commit mistake. But my students, B is the correct answer, because assertion is correct, reasoning is correct, but reasoning is not the correct explanation for assertion. ये इसकी व्याख्या नहीं है. दोनों करेक्ट हैं और व्याख्या देखो दो ही शर्तों पर होगी. Actually, the explanation can be valid only on 2 bases. Either reasoning is the cause of assertion or reasoning is the evidence of assertion. In that case, you can say the question is correct and the answer is A. But if reasoning is not the correct explanation for, you can say either the reasoning, either the cause or the evidence of this assertion, then in that case, you cannot expect the question to be A. Rather, you have to select choice number B. So, choice number B is the correct answer. You have done the very good job. Thank you very much. Now, come to the topic. So, my students, in the previous class, we have left the topic, you can very well understand. So, let me come to the syllabus again. I have left you in the previous class at which point? Temperature 1 point increase, please. Just 1 minute. 1 minute. Surat split, we have done. The growth of communalism. So, my students, can you give me the explanation key whenever we have done this topic in the growth of communalism, and then we have the factors encourage the communalism in Indian politics, and then that is next one point, the similar deputation and the organization of the Muslim League. So, my students, can you make me clear on which point in communalism we have left? Either we have not started communalism at all, or we have done some base work in communalism, then we have left the topic. What is the actual position? You people can memorize the things very well. So, just you can say give me some hint whether we have started this topic of communalism or not in the previous class. मतलब हम लोग इस communalism के टॉपिक को शुरू कर चुके थे या नहीं, या सिर्फ बेस वर्क करके छोड़ा था, या थोड़ा सा वर्क करके छोड़ा था. What is the actual situation? Please give me the information. What is the condition, Ankur? Achha, simply base work. So, let me return to the diagram first. Let me return to the diagram then. My student, in the previous class I have made you clear what is communalism, and I have told you in fact communalism, basically I have talked about the definition of communalism. what is the definition of communalism? Let me make you clear. What is the definition? Suppose you can say someone is going to ask you, although in my study material I have made you clear, and in the previous class I have made a diagram. Suppose this is a religious sect, and this religious sect, you can say, developed a group of followers behind it. So a group of followers which stick to the rules of a particular sect. Which stick to the rules of a particular sect, So that is known as, here I have to inform you, in fact, there is the specific religious sect, you can say, and a group of followers which is following a particular religious sect, and this group of followers could follow, or you can say stick to some rules of the specific sect. मतलब कि कोई एक धार्मिक पंथ हो, धार्मिक पंथ, सेक्ट को पंथ बोलते हैं, धार्मिक पंथ हो, उसके जो मानने वाले, उसके अनुयायी हों, वो उस पंथ के नियमों का पालन करने वाले हों, तो दैट इज नोन एज वन कम्युनिटी, one religious community, you can say, So the followers belong to a particular religious community. My students, in my previous class, I have told you it to be associated with a particular religious community does not mean that you have taken a backward step or you have taken a regressive step. No. To get associated with a religious community or to follow a particular religion is not, a regressive thing, not regressive thing, not unprogressive at all. मतलब आप किसी धर्म विशेष को मानते हो या किसी धार्मिक संप्रदाय से जुड़े हुए हो तो बिल्कुल गलत नहीं है, आपने कोई प्रगतिहीन कदम नहीं उठाया है. You have not taken any, you can say, regressive, you have not taken any regressive step, not regressive step at all, because you are having a right to express and to profess your religion. No one can put a bar on that. Even you are enjoying, even in present constitution and in the most of the democratic constitutions in the world, the right to conscience is allowed to its followers, and if not, then it is not a true democracy. मतलब कि जो राइट ऑफ कंसाइंस है, मतलब अपनी अभिव्यक्ति की स्वतंत्रता, वो सभी को अलाउड है कि भाई आप अपने धार्मिक अभिव्यक्ति कर सकते हो, किसी धर्म विशेष को फॉलो कर सकते हो. It is not communalism. Communalism is a bad thing. To follow a religious community is not a bad thing, but communalism is a bad thing. But if your religious identity overshadows all other identities, in your life, that is communalism. That is communalism. अब suppose if your religious identity is going to overshadow all other identities, अब you can ask me कि what are all other identities? You are having a lots of identities, You are a male or a female. You belong to one political organization or another political organization. you belong to this social organization or that social organization, you are a graduate or a postgraduate, you belong to this region or that region, you belong to this caste or that caste. So you are having multiple identities. You are having multiple identities, but putting aside all the identities, if someone is asserting I am a Hindu or I am a Muslim, so then he is communalist. मतलब हम आपको कहना चाहते हैं कि हर इंसान को एक से अधिक पहचान होती है, आप पुरुष हैं या महिला हैं, आप इस राजनीतिक संगठन के सदस्य हैं या उस राजनीतिक संगठन के सदस्य हैं, आप इस जाति से जुड़े हुए या उस जाति से जुड़े हुए, इस क्षेत्र से जुड़े हुए अथवा उस क्षेत्र से जुड़े हुए, आप ग्रेजुएट हैं या पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट हैं. सो मेनी आइडेंटिटीज यू आर हैविंग. यू आर ए यू कैन से सर्विस प्रोफेशनल और यू आर ए स्टूडेंट, व्हाट, इवन दैट कैन बी एन आइडेंटिटी. आपके बहुत सारी पहचानें हैं, आप सारी पहचानों को ताक पर रख देते हो और सिर्फ एक पहचान पर बल देते हो, मैं हिंदू हूं या मैं मुसलमान हूं, तो देन यू आर कम्युनल, तब आप सांप्रदायिक हो. So that is communalism. And then I have told you that it was Bipan Chandra, a historian, who tried to define communalism, and its definition is कि the secular interest means कि political, economic and social interest of, and communalism believes that the political, economic and social interest of a particular community are, you can say, converging on a common point, or you can say the political, economic and social interest of a particular religious community are identical, are one and the same, or identical. मतलब जो यह मानकर चलता है कि एक विशेष धार्मिक संप्रदाय के राजनीतिक, आर्थिक और सामाजिक हित आपस में समान होते हैं. Then it also believes that the political, economic and social interest of a particular religious identity is different from those of other, a particular religious community is different from those from other communities. So it is going to establish that it is going to be slightly more communal. अगर वो ये विश्वास करने लगता है कि एक विशेष धार्मिक संप्रदाय की राजनीतिक, सामाजिक और सांस्कृतिक हित, राजनीतिक, आर्थिक और सामाजिक हित दूसरे धार्मिक संप्रदाय के राजनीतिक, आर्थिक और सामाजिक हित से अलग हैं, तो जाहिर है कि वो कम्युनल हो रहा है, वो सांप्रदायिक हो रहा है. सो दे आर टर्निंग टू बी कम्युनल. एंड व्हेन दिस कम्युनलिज्म स्टार्टेड टू बिलीव दैट द political, economic and social interest of a particular religious community are just antithetical to the same interest of the other religious community, then it is going to be aggressive in its approach. अब जब यह विश्वास करने लगता है एक विशेष धार्मिक संप्रदाय के राजनीतिक, आर्थिक और सामाजिक हित दूसरे धार्मिक संप्रदाय के राजनीतिक, आर्थिक और सामाजिक हित के विरोधी होते हैं, तो इसका मतलब समझिए वो अब एक्सट्रीमिस्ट फेज में पहुंच गया, अब वो उग्र चरण में आ चुका है. और जब in 1930s you can say particularly the communalism in India reached up to its extremist phase, and finally it culminated into the partition of India, which I have to discuss with you. Firstly, you are discussing what? Firstly, you are going to discuss about the progress of communalism and the progress of nationalism, and then you will just discuss about the thing that the progress of nationalism and the progress of communalism, and in the end you will come to realize that the progress of nationalism culminated into the freedom of India, while the progress of nationalism culminated into the independence of India, and the progress of communalism had to culminate into the partition of India. So freedom and partition both had to take place in 1947 itself. तो इन दिस वे यू कैन से विल टॉक अबाउट कि अब एक समय हम लोग देखेंगे थोड़ा सा जस्ट रिड्यूस द टेम्परेचर कम कर. तो 24 माय पॉइंट इज, सो इन दिस वे यू आर जस्ट गोइंग टू डिस्कस अबाउट. अब माय पॉइंट इज दिस इज कम्युनलिज्म. देन आई हैव ऑलरेडी गिवन टू यू द इंफॉर्मेशन, यू विल कम टू नो व्हाट हैपेंड. अब हाउ द कम्युनलिज्म ग्रेजुअली was going to influence here. So just you will come to realize, because in my study material I have already mentioned all these things, so you people might have noticed that uh, you can say, what are the factors encouraging the communalism in the Indian politics? The 19th century socialist reforms encouraged the revivalist tendencies and thus promoted communalism. I have told you earlier, we have already observed this fact. How did socialist reforms movement culminate into the creating cleavage between Hindus and Muslims? Because the Hindu reformers, unfortunately, they were talking about the greatness of the ancient culture of India, but they have relatively neglected the medieval culture, or they completely neglected the medieval culture of India or the medieval history. On the other hand, the Muslim reformers just try to find out their pedigree and try to search out their pedigree in the politics of West Asia and Central Asia in medieval history. They try to just find out their root in the history of Central Asia and medieval, you can say, West Asia. So finally, you can say it might have created a cleavage between the Hindus and the Muslim reformers at that time, and Hindus and Muslims as a whole. तो अनजाने ही समाज एवं धर्म सुधार आंदोलन, जो कहते हैं कि घर में आग लग गई घर के चिराग से, वही हो गई कि रिफॉर्म्स करने निकले थे, लेकिन जो हिंदू रिफॉर्मर्स है, देखो कई बार क्या होगा कि यू आर टर्निंग टू बी स्लाइटली कॉम्युनल, बट यू विल नॉट आइडेंटिफाई योरसेल्फ कि यू आर गोइंग टू बी कॉम्युनल इन आवर अप्रोच. दिस इज द बेसिक प्रॉब्लम ऑफ कॉम्युनलिज्म. Whosoever going to be communal, he does not identify himself कि I am going to be communal. मतलब जो कम्युनलिस्ट बन जाता है वो अपने आप को पहचान नहीं पाता है. वो तो बोलता है कि हम तो अपने हक की बात कर रहे हैं, मैं किसी का हक तो मार नहीं रहा. लेकिन आप अगर अपने हक की बात करें और दूसरे के हक को नेग्लेक्ट करें तो आप उसके हक को मार रहे हैं. You are talking about the greatness of Indian past and culture, or talking about the ancient glory, but you are taking the phase of medieval India as the phase of decline, as the British Orientalists just tried to taught you earlier. It means you are turning to be communal. In this way, जो समाज एवं धर्म सुधार आंदोलन में वही गलती हुई. जो हिंदू सुधारक थे, हिंदू रिफॉर्मर्स थे, उन्होंने कहीं ना कहीं एंशियंट इंडिया की ग्लोरी, उसके गौरव की बात की, और जो मेडिवल सुधारक थे वो अपनी पैतृक परंपरा, अपनी पेडिग्री चले गए वेस्ट एशिया और सेंट्रल एशिया में खोजने. इस कारण से दोनों के बीच आगे चलकर यस गीतिका. Yes, why not? INC was definitely formed at the spirit of patriotism. Gitika, if you are going to prove that INC was the product of the safety valve theory, which I have discussed with you, so unconsciously you are going to give support to the British colonial historians. And particularly Lala Lajpat Rai, he has mistakenly made an attack on the Congress. And you know, even British colonialist historian is not going to accept this, colonial historian, Lala Lajpat Rai. He, while making an attack over the moderate phase of the Congress, he mistakenly made an attack over the birth of the Congress itself. And it finally, you can say, led to the erosion of the legitimacy of the Congress. And Lala Lajpat Rai was himself a Congressy. मतलब आप अगर गीतिका नहीं मानते हो इस बात को कि कांग्रेस की स्थापना, अगर आप ऐसा मानने लगोगे कि सेफ्टी वॉल्व की अवधारणा के कारण हुई, सुरक्षा कपाट की अवधारणा के कारण हुई, तब तो आप गलती से ये प्रूव कर रहे हो कि कांग्रेस एक ब्रिटिश के द्वारा स्थापित थी. आपको सिद्ध करना पड़ेगा पैट्रियोटिक थी कांग्रेस. तो यू हैव नॉट टू एक्सेप्ट दिस थियरी. Sneha Theosophical Society was a socio-religious reforms organization, and whenever I am going to cover this area, so it is in common class, it is not you can say possible to cover all the organizations, you know. So who? Sneha, you have to find out, even in NCERT books or some basic books, you will find Theosophical Society was a socio-cultural organization, and that was formed by Mrs. Annie Besant. Mrs. Annie Besant formed it. Who? Nikhat Banu. Nikhat, I have just mentioned about several times about the Bengal Tenancy Act. I have told you, in fact, when the permanent settlement was introduced in Bengal, so initially, you know, the टेनेंट्स, टेनेंट्स तो समझ रहे होंगे आप लोग, रैयत को बोलते हैं, किसान को। तो टेनेंट्स वर लेफ्ट एट द मर्सी ऑफ द जमींदार्स and the government didn't give any safety to tenants against zamindars. But in course of time, it was bitterly realized, particularly after, the Great Revolt of 1857, the wider discontentment among the peasants could result into another revolt in Bengal as well. So British, for that fear, introduced the Bengal Tenancy Act in 1859 for the first time, and in which the tenants were given some rights vis-a-vis zamindars for the first time. It was the tenants were given the protection against the zamindars, and later this act was once again, the second Tenancy Act was enacted in 1885, जिसको कहते हैं 1885, the Tenancy Act I have just mentioned about. So here also you can say the tenants were given the further safety against the zamindars. तो आप किसानों को उसके जमीन से बेदखल ना कर दो, इसलिए किसानों को पहली बार जो अधिकारों की स्वीकृति लैंड पर की गई जमींदार के अगेंस्ट में, उसी का नाम है टेनेंसी एक्ट। निखत बानू बेगम, यू आर क्लियर? आर यू क्लियर? या हाँ, मोहम्मद अली जिन्ना एंड वीडी सावरकर प्लॉट एफएल। अच्छा हाँ, obviously who has asked this question? Vinay Yadav. Vinay Yadav, actually you have asked me the question, this communalism and two nation theory, that is a very late thing. I'll discuss about the two nation theory. So I have told you कि जैसे अब two nation theory, what was the fault here? So two nation theory was a flawed theory. Flawed means it was a wrong theory. It should not be, you can say, emphasized. मतलब this two nation theory believes कि Hindu and Muslims are the two nations. I have told you कि Kian Panikkar is a historian. He has given his view. In fact, Hindus and Muslims, it is true that Muslims came to India as an invader, but later you can say that they became the inhabitants of India. They were settled in India and they became the part and parcel of the same life. And then the Hindus and Muslims lived together for 5 to 6 centuries, and they developed a composite culture. And in composite culture, there are the different aspects. You can say dietary habits, dress, attitude of life, language, literature, art, architecture, religion. So this composite culture just reflected itself in the various fields, Even the religion is the part of the same composite culture. But Jinnah or Savarkar, whatever might be, they definitely committed a mistake, putting aside all identities, putting aside, all the aspects of composite culture. Just say, you can say, here, art and architecture, Indo-Islamic architecture, in literature, Urdu, and likewise you can say you can say in dress habits, the Muslims started to wear dhoti and Hindus lungi. So in this way you can say that there was the exchange of attitude of life, the morality in every field. There was the expression of composite culture. But putting aside all the aspects of the composite culture, simply making the basis of the religion, either Jinnah or Savarkar declared Hindus and Muslims are the two nations. So they both are, this is the flawed theory, this is a wrong theory. The theory can never be accepted. मतलब मैं आपको यहाँ बताना चाहता कि कियान पनिकर का कहना है कि देखो, अब हिंदू और मुसलमान, ठीक है, हिंदू इन्वेडर्स के रूप में आए, आक्रमणकारी के रूप में आए, यहाँ रहे, लेकिन साथ साथ रहते हुए उन्होंने एक समन्वित संस्कृति का विकास किया। कंपोजिट कल्चर का मतलब है समन्वित संस्कृति। उसमें बहुत सारे है, पहनावा ओढ़ावा, खान पान, रहन सहन, जीवन दृष्टिकोण, मोरालिटी, आर्किटेक्चर यानी स्थापत्य, ये म्यूजिक, लिटरेचर, इसके वेरियस फील्ड है। रिलीजन, तो रिलीजन जो धर्म है उसका मात्र एक एस्पेक्ट है। तो क्या किया जिन्ना या सावरकर ने कि बाकी सारे एस्पेक्ट को दरकिनार करके सिर्फ एक एस्पेक्ट धर्म को आधार बना के उन्होंने सिद्ध करने का प्रयास किया कि हिंदू और मुसलमान दोनों दो राष्ट्र हैं। और फाइनली वी कैन से कि पाकिस्तान वाज क्रिएटेड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ रिलीजन, but Pakistan had to manifest the second partition in the form of the creation of Bangladesh just 30 years after that. And the formation of Bangladesh was the success of culture on religion. That is the success of composite culture. Amar Sonar Bangla. Amar Sonar Bangla, it was the slogan in the course of the Bangladesh movement, तो ये बेसिकली जो बंगाली संस्कृति और बंगाली संस्कृति हावी हो गई। अब मैं एक इंटरेस्टिंग आपको एपिसोड बताता हूँ। एक मूवी, सबसे पहली मूवी पाकिस्तान की रिलीज हुई थी इंडिया के लिए, उसको कहते हैं खुदा के लिए। उसमें बड़ा एक इंटरेस्टिंग एपिसोड दिया है। डू यू अंडरस्टैंड? मतलब आप लोग गौर से सुनिएगा मेरे इस चीज को। मैं हिंदी में बोलता हूँ, एक्सक्लूसिव जो मतलब दोनों लैंग्वेज में बोलने में थोड़ा सा मजा किरकिरा जाएगा। तो एक्चुअली व्हाट हैपेंड, एक अमेरिकन लड़की है और एक अमेरिकन लड़की और एक पाकिस्तानी ओरिजिन का लड़का है, लेकिन वो वेस्टर्नाइज्ड अप्रोच रखता है और वह रह रहा है अमेरिका में। तो वेस्टर्नाइज आउटलुक रखता है, एक पाकिस्तानी लड़का है, और दोनों एक कोई इस तरह के स्टॉल हैं, कोई एक मैकडोवल टाइप के, वहीं पर दोनों कुछ फ्रेंच फ्राइज वगैरह का ऑर्डर देते हैं और दोनों अपने अपने ऑर्डर देकर दोनों अपने ऑर्डर के इंतजार में हैं। तो उस जो बॉय है जो पाकिस्तानी ओरिजिन का, उसको अमेरिकन लड़की की तरफ थोड़ा सा बात करने के लिए बार बार इच्छुक होता है और बार बार कुछ उससे बात करने की कोशिश करता है, बट सी इज नॉट टेकिंग इंटरेस्ट। वो बहुत इंटरेस्ट नहीं लेती है, वो मूवी का है। तो फिर ये जो अमेरिकन बॉय है, सॉरी पाकिस्तानी बॉय है, वो पूछता है उसको, जब बहुत बार बार जब उससे जब कम्युनिकेट करने की कोशिश करता है, तो वो भी थोड़ा सा इंटरेस्ट लेते हुए पूछती है, वेयर आर यू कमिंग फ्रॉम, थोड़ा सा कम ही इंटरेस्ट लेते हुए। तो ये कहा कि आई एम फ्रॉम पाकिस्तान। कहा यस यू आर फ्रॉम पाकिस्तान, वेयर इज पाकिस्तान सिचुएटेड। अब वो पूछता है कि पाकिस्तान आखिर है कहाँ। अब ये तो आसमान से गिरा, इसको लगा कि भाई जो पाकिस्तान को ही नहीं पहचान रही तो मुझे क्या यह भाव देगी। तो वो थोड़ा परेशान हुआ पहले, लेकिन फिर पेशेंस के साथ उसने फ्रेंच फ्राइज से बनाकर दिखाना शुरू किया कि दिस इज ईरान, दिस इज अफगानिस्तान, दिस इज इंडिया। अब इंडिया दिया, अब बीच में पाकिस्तान रखता, जिस समय इंडिया का नाम लिया उसी समय वो लड़की उछल पड़ी, ओह इंडिया, दैट इज अ ग्रेट कंट्री, द ग्रेट पीस ऑफ आर्स, हाँ ग्रेट कंट्री। तो वो तब वो थोड़ा एक्साइटेड ये भी हुआ, कहा कि चलो कोई बात नहीं, पाकिस्तान ने इंडिया को तो पहचाना। तो पूछता है कि अच्छा डू यू नो इंडिया? तो कहता है यस देयर अ ग्रेट पीस ऑफ आर्ट, ताजमहल इज सिचुएटेड। कहा वहां पर ताजमहल सिचुएटेड है। जब कहा तो इसकी और भी बाँछें खिल गई, और भी खुश हो गया, सोचा कि चलो हम ताजमहल में ही लपेटते हैं, थोड़ा इम्प्रेस, इनको इसी आधार पर हम इम्प्रेस करने की कोशिश करते हैं। तो उसने, ये लड़के ने उसको कहा डू यू नो ताजमहल? तो कहा यस दैट इज अ ग्रेट पीस ऑफ आर्ट। तो कहा यस या, तो देन आई एम गोइंग टू टेल यू एंड इन्फॉर्म यू अ वेरी सीक्रेट अबाउट ताजमहल। वो क्यूरियस हुई, क्या सीक्रेट है? कहा डू यू नो दिस ताजमहल हैज बीन बिल्ट बाय अ पाकिस्तानी शाहजहां। उसने कहा कि ताजमहल एक पाकिस्तानी शाहजहां के द्वारा बिल्ट हुआ। तो लड़की भी उतना ही इनोसेंटली जवाब देती है, यस इज इट ट्रू, देन व्हाई हैव यू नॉट शिफ्टेड ताजमहल फ्रॉम इंडिया टू पाकिस्तान? अगर ऐसा है कि भाई पाकिस्तानी शाहजहां ने इसको बनवाया, तो आपने ताजमहल को इंडिया से पाकिस्तान शिफ्ट क्यों नहीं कर लिया? बताइए। यह है कंपोजिट कल्चर। आपका जो इस जिसको तुम कहोगे पाकिस्तान का नेशनल लैंग्वेज उर्दू है, और उर्दू की पैदाइश ही हिंदुस्तान में हुई है, उसका पैदा ही हिंदुस्तान में उर्दू हुई। और नॉट सिंपली दैट, यहाँ जो तुम दिल्ली देखते हो, दिल्ली, अजमेर शरीफ, लखनऊ, ये सब इंडो इस्लामिक कल्चर का घर है। जो पाकिस्तान के जो ऑर्थोडॉक्स उलेमा यहाँ से लेके तालिबानी तक की जो आइडियोलॉजी है, दैट इज गेटिंग इम्प्रेस्ड बाय होम? दैट इज फ्रॉम देवबंद स्कूल। देवबंद स्कूल दैट वाज सिचुएटेड इन लखनऊ। तो आपका तो सारा ओरिजिन पाकिस्तान इंडिया में है, बल्कि आप न्यूक्लियर बॉम्ब भी बनाओगे, तुम्हारी तो पाकिस्तान की लेगेसी ही इंडिया में। देन हाउ जिन्ना used to make a statement कि Hindus and Muslims are the two nations? That is absolutely wrong. Mr. Ankur, should I move further? Then the second one factor, my friend, the British history writing and the population census. As James Mill divided Indian history as Hindu period, Muslim period, thus the communal elements were encouraged in Indian politics. My students, you can very well understand this point. The division of Indian history was so unscientific, and this division was made first by James Mill. James Mill was the British who composed the first history of India in 1817, and he divided history in between Hindu period and Muslim period. Of Hindu period and Muslim period, that was a very, you can say, flawed basis of the division. The ancient India was identified with the Hindu period and the medieval India with the Muslim period. We are just trying to identify the specific history. So Hindus were looking towards their own history and Muslims to their own history. So it was just the communalization of history. मतलब इतिहास का विभाजन हिंदू काल और मुस्लिम काल में किया जाना बहुत घातक सिद्ध हुआ, क्योंकि हिंदू लोग अपना अतीत प्राचीन भारत में देखने लगे और मुस्लिम लोग मध्यकालीन भारत में, medieval history में. So in this way you can say it created some sort of division between the two. And the opportunistic policy of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. Ab Sir Syed Ahmad Khan was a very interesting personality. I have just made you clear. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan was a retired British retired government officer, a Muslim officer. He even wrote a book on the Great Revolt of 1857. Initially, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan was more or less a nationalist. He was having some sort of nationalist outlook. And at one occasion, he even made a statement that Hindus and Muslims are the two eyes in the same, on the same face, same face. मतलब हिंदू और मुसलमान दोनों भारत की दो आंखें हैं. It was the statement made by Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. And whenever he laid the foundation of, he was a reformers, Muslim reformers, you know, Aligarh movement he started. So whenever he laid the foundation of his famous educational institution, that was the Anglo-Oriental College in 1875, even the Hindus gave the donations liberally to the foundation of the institutions. So even the Hindus contributed to these institutions, to this institution. But the same Sir Syed Ahmad Khan just turned to be pro-Raj or the loyal to the British from 1880s onwards. Up to 1870s, he remained more or less as a nationalist in his outlook, but in 1880s, he turned to be the pro-British Raj. So why did this transformation take place? Why did? What was the reason behind that? जब 1870 के दशक में वह एक राष्ट्रवादी था, तो 1880 के दशक में सर सैयद अहमद खान अचानक से ब्रिटिश राज के पक्षधर कैसे बन गए? इतना बड़ा उनमें परिवर्तन कैसे हुआ? इसकी वजह है. In fact, that Sir Syed Ahmad Khan came to realize that in 1882, I have told you, in 1882, I am making clear, I have earlier discussed with you, there was the legislation of Local Self-Government Act by Lord Ripon. Act by Lord Ripon. So Lord Ripon just introduced this Local Self-Government Act, and it was in this act for the first time the election politics was introduced in India at the local level. So once the election politics started, it just gave an alarming signal to Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, because Sir Syed Ahmad Khan belonged to the Muslim community, which was a minority, a religious minority in India, you know. So Sir Syed Ahmad Khan came to realize that in fact the power was usurped, or you can say the power from the Mughals were usurped by the British. It is true, but it is equally true that this power would never return to the Muslims again. Next time the power had to be, you can say, power would automatically pass to the Hindu majority, not the Muslim minority, because the era of democracy is likely to come in future, and in the era of democracy, the election will be the basis of the selection of a candidate. And in case of election, the Hindus are having the natural advantage as they belong to a majority community. So it was the perception of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan को लगा कि यार ये तो अब आगे चुनावी राजनीति आ जाएगी, चुनावी राजनीति में जो बहुसंख्यक हैं उनके कैंडिडेट चुने जाएंगे, और जो मुस्लिम हैं वो मुस्लिमों के जो कैंडिडेट हैं वो हार जाएंगे चुनाव में. तो अब उसके हाथ पांव कपकपाने लगे, और सर सैयद अहमद खान ने सोचा, so he disapproved the election politics in India. He tried to discourage the election politics, and he tried to establish that Hindus and Muslims are the two different coms. two different com. Two different com means ki two different community, and they should enjoy the simply two votes, one vote each, and Hindu one vote and Muslim one vote. मतलब he just tried to, and Sir Syed Ahmad Khan just tried to overcome the majoritarian strength of the Hindus, and he just tried to neutralize the Hindus as a majority community through professing the idea that there should be simply two votes, one vote to the Muslim community and another vote to Hindu community, so that the Hindus should not prevail over Muslims on the basis of the number of the, on the basis of its numerical strength. मतलब उसका कहना था, उसने एक अच्छा उपाय सोचा कि जब मुस्लिम के मेजॉरिटी को न्यूट्रलाइज करने का एक ही तरीका है कि दो ही वोट रखा जाए, एक मुसलमानों के लिए, हिंदुओं के लिए, और दोनों को एक एक वोट मिले और कोई भी निर्णय में दोनों की सहमति हो। अब बताइए, इट मीन्स कि फ्रॉम द वेरी बिगिनिंग द मुस्लिम कम्युनलिज्म, just you can say, or you can say the basis of the future Pakistan, because Pakistan is a very remote objective at present, but in future Pakistan, the basis of the future Pakistan, because seeds of Pakistan was sown here, you know, in one sense, by Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. But unfortunate condition was that the, you can say, the basis of Pakistan was just, you know, this basis of Pakistan was from the very beginning, it remained to be undemocratic in its structure, undemocratic. Because Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, earlier Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, later Muhammad Ali Jinnah, were equally, you know, scared about the Hindu majoritarian politics, or you can say the Hindu majority, you can say majority, and they tried to overcome this Hindu majority through professing the policy of communalism. तो मतलब पाकिस्तान का डिमांड ही अपने आप में, उसका जो बीज पड़ा वही अनडेमोक्रेटिक था और प्रजातांत्रिक, इसलिए मुस्लिम लीग कैन नेवर बिकेम इवन इन फ्यूचर अ डेमोक्रेटिक पार्टी. Even after the creation of Pakistan, you can say Pakistan remained to be undemocratic in nature, and you will supply to the independence era. Although this is not the part of your syllabus, but in order to just, you can say, in order to just, you can say, fulfill your curiosity, in Indian Constitution was framed after you can say an effort for the 3 long years. After, but in Pakistan, the constitution making became such a arduous task. It took 10 years to make constitution, and even this constitution could survive only for 2 years, because General Ayub Khan usurped the power in Pakistan just after, you can say, constitution was enforced in Pakistan, and General Ayub Khan brought a coup and toppled the government. मतलब अब यही समझिए कि इनका पहले से ही, शुरू से ही अप्रजातांत्रिक मांग, इसलिए पाकिस्तान में जब फ्यूचर में पाकिस्तान बनेगा तो वहां पर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन नहीं चल पाएगा. 9 इयर्स लेंगे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाने में, और 2 इयर्स में कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ध्वस्त हो जाए. जस्ट 1 मिनट, तुम एक बार बोल दिया करो ना. अच्छा, हमारी तरफ से तो नहीं है, यहाँ से क्या है. पता करो. हेलो my students, is the sound clear? Is the sound clear, my students? My students, is the sound clear? Okay. तो पाकिस्तान का डिमांड शुरू से अनडेमोक्रेटिक, सर सैयद अहमद खान ने मुद्दा उठाया, तो दैट्स वाई. जबकि देखो, अब लेटर आई जस्ट, अभी तो तुम लोग थोड़ा सा नेसेंट फेज में हो, थोड़ा सा और भी प्रोग्रेस होगा तो मैं और इसका कुछ एक दो कॉम्प्लिकेशन आपको और बताऊंगा। देखो, इवन इन योर पॉलिटिकल साइंस बुक इन क्लास 10th, यस मिस्टर, रिपीट करना पड़ेगा। ओके माय स्टूडेंट्स, ओके। Sir Syed Ahmad Khan followed an undemocratic policy. That's why कि future Pakistan always remain to be undemocratic. एक there is the hearsay in the countryside, you can say there is a hearsay कि रोपे पेड़ बबूल का तो आम कहाँ से खाए। If you are just going to sown the seeds of a tree babul, so how can you get the mangoes from such a tree? The same happened in case of Pakistan. जैसा मतलब morning shows the day. So it is the undemocratic politics of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. He tried to overcome the majority through professing the idea that there should be simply two votes, there should be the communal parity between Hindus and Muslims in place of democratic politics and election politics. So he opposed the election politics from the very beginning, you know. So this is the phase. This is the point. A point is that as at that time there was the foundation of Indian National Congress, so initially the British did not entertain Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, but later after the death of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, his successor was Mohsin ul Mulk. जैसे सर सैयद अहमद खान को तो शुरू में ब्रिटिश ने घास नहीं खास डाला, लेकिन हाँ धीरे धीरे ब्रिटिश के भी दिमाग में आइडिया आने लगा कि सर सैयद अहमद खान का यूज किया जा सकता है, भारत में मुसलमानों का यूज किया जा सकता है। और कुछ कुछ ब्रिटिश ऑफिसर्स इंडिया में ऐसे थे जैसे W हंटर, then you can say Valentine Cyril. So there were certain British officers who used to give suggestion to the government that the time has come that we have to use the Muslim, we have to play the minority card in India, and we have to play the Muslim minority against the Hindu majority in order to create a cleavage within the national movement of India. हमें यहाँ पर माइनॉरिटी कार्ड खेलना चाहिए मुस्लिम मेजोरिटी के अगेंस्ट में, और हमें नेशनल मूवमेंट में कुछ क्लीवेज को क्रिएट करना चाहिए। तो सर सैयद अहमद खान का जो बेसिकली जो पॉलिसी है, सो दैट प्रूव्ड यू कैन से वेरी फैटल इन फ्यूचर, एंड लेटर यू विल कम टू रियलाइज। सो दिस इज द सर सैयद अहमद खान, एंड देन यू कम टू नो कि in the meantime, later, after the death of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, Mohsin ul Mulk was his successor in United Province, because Sir Syed Ahmad Khan belonged to United Province. और सर सैयद अहमद खान संयुक्त प्रांत से जुड़ा हुआ था और मोहसिन उल मुल्क उसका उत्तराधिकारी हुआ। एंड देयर वाज द नवाब ऑफ ढाका एट दैट टाइम, यू विल, जैसे अब आगा खान, नवाब सलीमुल्लाह और मोहसिन उल मुल्क। So all the disgruntled Muslim leaders gathered at a single point, and they decided to carry a deputation, a Muslim deputation, to Simla to see Viceroy, a Viceroy Lord Minto. This Muslim deputation, you know, so that was carried by a group of the elite Muslims. 35 elite Muslims participated in the deputation. मतलब एक उसको कहते हैं शिमला प्रतिनिधि मंडल, उसमें मोहसिन उल मुल्क थे, आगा खान थे, नवाब सलीमुल्लाह थे, ये सब मिलकर एक ग्रुप बनाया, और ग्रुप बना के और फिर वो गए और जाकर उन्होंने जो वायसराय लॉर्ड मिंटो है उसको शिमला में डिमांड रखा, उनके सामने एक प्रपोजल रखा, डिमांड रखा। वो डिमांड ये था, अब जस्ट ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि दिस 35 मेंबर डेलीगेशन पुट अ डिमांड बिफोर लॉर्ड मिंटो कि कंसीडरिंग आवर हिस्टोरिकल रोल and the service we have rendered to the British Empire, the Muslims should be provided more representation than their actual population, and Muslims should be provided the separate electorate. अब देखो, इनका कहना यह है कि हमारी ऐतिहासिक भूमिका को देखते हुए और हमने जो साम्राज्य के लिए सेवा अर्पित की है, मतलब हमने जो वी हैव डन अ ग्रेट जॉब टू द ब्रिटिश एम्पायर, तो वी नीड सम सॉर्ट ऑफ रिटर्न फ्रॉम द ब्रिटिश एम्पायर, एंड द रिटर्न इज कि हमें हमारी जो ऐतिहासिक भूमिका है, जो हिस्टोरिकल रोल है, उसको देखते हुए, और हमने जो अब तक साम्राज्य को सेवा अर्पित की है उसको देखते हुए हमें जनसंख्या से अधिक प्रतिनिधित्व दीजिए और हमें सेपरेट इलेक्टोरेट, पृथक निर्वाचन दीजिए। अब यू मे बी अ बिट सरप्राइज कि व्हाट इज सेपरेट इलेक्टोरेट एंड व्हाट इज ज्वाइंट इलेक्टोरेट। माय स्टूडेंट्स, इवन टुडे यू मे कम टू नो कि देयर इज द रिजर्वेशन ऑफ सीट्स फॉर SC एंड ST, यू माइट हैव हर्ड अबाउट। तो SC और ST के लिए रिजर्वेशन ऑफ सीट्स है, बट इट इज एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ द ज्वाइंट इलेक्टोरेट, मतलब संयुक्त निर्वाचन है। व्हाई? So candidates are coming from a definite, you can say a definite caste. It is true that candidates are coming from a particular caste, but it is equally true that voters are common. They didn't belong to the, you can say, ST or ST category. All voters would give the vote to the candidate from SC or ST category, So this is the example of joint electorate. In separate electorate, you can say that the Muslim candidate could be elected on the basis of Muslim votes only. Means ki in separate electorate, the candidates and voters both are coming from a same community. The people of other community was not given the right to exercise their vote in this election, in these elections. So that is known as the separate electorate. So my students, you may be clear about the joint electorate and separate electorate. Mr. Ankur, they are clear. So this is known as the. So this was the demand by law of my students at that time. The Secretary of State. You find the Secretary of State was a post which was created in 1858. So the Secretary of State was Lord, you can say Maudley. So Maudley was not ready to accept the Muslim proposal, Maudley believes that if the British had to create its own followers in India, if the British had to create its own loyal group in India, so better to British should have given the priority to the moderate leaders because they are the pro-westerners in their approach. उनका ये कहना था मॉडले का जो भारत सचिव था कि अगर ब्रिटिश चाहते हैं कि हम अपने इंडिया में कुछ वफादार लोगों को बनाकर रखें, जो कांग्रेस के उदारवादी नेता हैं उनको ले अपने वफादार के रूप में, तो मुस्लिमों को लेने का मतलब है खतरनाक उसका परिणाम होगा. उसका कहना था कि इट विल बी डेंजरस टू द पॉलिटिक्स इन इंडिया एंड इवन डेंजरस टू द फ्यूचर ब्रिटिश इंटरेस्ट इन इंडिया. But Lord Minto was adamant कि no, Muslims should be given the priority and the Muslim minority might have been provoked and used against the Hindu majority in order to strengthen the base of the British rule in India. Lord Minto इसके पक्ष में था कि नहीं, मुस्लिमों को भड़काया जाए और ब्रिटिश के प्रभाव क्षेत्र में लाया जाए और मुस्लिमों के माध्यम से ब्रिटिश शासन की जड़ को हिंदुस्तान में मजबूत किया जाए. Ultimately, it was Lord Minto who prevailed over Maudley, and Maudley was, you can say, cornered out. So this happened, and later I will discuss with you if there would be separate electorate. Then the organization of Muslim League. Up the same Muslim elite leaders, so they gathered at a place, and this place was what? So this place was, that was at Dhaka. At Dhaka, it was basically an Urdu conference. It was not basically a delegation, it was just an Urdu conference, and in this Urdu conference was organized at Dhaka in December 1906, and it was in course of this conference itself, there was a proposal among the Muslim elites that there should have been a specific organization, and a specific organization should be created there, and this organization had to work for promoting the Muslim interest in India. So this idea is, you can say, this idea struck to the mind of the different Muslim elite leaders, and finally in December 1906 there was the formation of Muslim League at Dhaka, and Nawab Salimullah initiated the process, but the first president, not Aga Khan became the president later, but it was presided over by Waqar, you can say, that was Waqar ul Mulk. The first, you can say, conference in which the Muslim League was formed in 1986. So that was, you can say, presided over Waqar ul Mulk. Waqar ul Mulk was a, you can say, Muslim leader who just presided over it. And Salimullah and Nawab Mohsin ul Mulk, its first president was Waqar ul Mulk. You find, since its genesis, the Muslim League continued to favor the British rule. Now you can say right from the very beginning, this Muslim League followed the pro-Raj British policy. अब 1906 में जो ये सब एकत्रित हुए जो मुस्लिम लीडर्स थे, जो एलिट मुस्लिम लीडर्स थे, वो ढाका में आए. तो ढाका में वो गैदर हुए, तो वो आए थे उर्दू कॉन्फ्रेंस के लिए, कोई मुस्लिम लीग के ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए नहीं आए थे. लेकिन फिर उन्होंने सोचा कि भाई हिंदुस्तान में एक ऐसा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन होना चाहिए जो स्पेसिफिकली मुसलमानों के हितों का को संवर्धन करे, उसके हितों को बढ़ाए। तो उनके दिमाग में आया कि एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बनाते हैं। तो ये दिसंबर 1906 में उन्होंने ढाका में ही उसी उर्दू कॉन्फ्रेंस को मुस्लिम लीग के कॉन्फ्रेंस में तब्दील करके वहीं पर एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को बना लिया जिसका नाम था मुस्लिम लीग। एंड मुस्लिम लीग फॉलोड द प्रो राज पॉलिसी फ्रॉम द वेरी बिगिनिंग। मैंने इसने जो प्रो ब्रिटिश राज पॉलिसी है उसको मुस्लिम लीग ने फॉलो करना शुरू किया। दैट्स इज ओवर माय स्टूडेंट्स। अब द प्रोग्रेस ऑफ नेशनलिज्म एंड प्रोग्रेस ऑफ कम्युनलिज्म अप टू 1907। अब my students, I have to give you a homework, a question which I can discuss with you tomorrow. So can I place a question to you people? अब just you have to write this question. Up to the beginning of beginning of 20th century, up to the beginning of 20th century, up to the beginning of 20th century, there emerged a new approach and there emerged a new approach and a new test within Indian National Congress and they gave a new direction to Congress politics. New direction to Congress politics. Comment. Up, I am just going to read it. Up to the beginning of 20th century, there emerged a new approach and a new test within Indian National Congress, and they new approach and test, they gave a new direction to Congress politics. Comment. टिप्पणी कीजिए। मतलब आपसे पूछा जा रहा है कि 20वीं सदी के आरंभ तक कांग्रेस के अंदर एक विशिष्ट दृष्टिकोण और रुचि का उद्भव हुआ जिसने कांग्रेस की राजनीति को एक पृथक दिशा दे दी। कमेंट करिए। थोड़ा क्वेश्चन चैलेंजिंग है। हियर आई एम जस्ट यू कैन से गिविंग यू द डायरेक्शन। इफ यू पीपल विल जस्ट प्रेफर लेट मी राइट फर्स्ट, माने यू इफ यू पीपल विल प्रेफर टू डू द प्रैक्टिस वर्क फर्स्ट, आई विल गिव यू द चांस। But if you people will surrender ki no sir, you have to answer this question yourself, I have to do nothing in this question, then I will myself answer this question. So please make me clear. And firstly let me explain it. इसको पहले मुझे व्याख्या कर लेने दीजिए। इसका डिमांड क्या है। देखो, एक बहुत साधारण सी चीज है। अब न्यू अप्रोच वो कहेंगे तो न्यू अप्रोच in place of the politics of prayers, politics of prayer, petition, and memorial, the emphasis over passive resistance, the emphasis over the method of, emphasis over the method of passive resistance. And you have to elaborate it further. इसको आप अपने ढंग से elaborate कर दीजिए. मतलब यहाँ पर आप इसको पहले यह दिखाएंगे कि देखिए जो मॉडरेट्स का जो अप्रोच इनका कैसे चेंज हुआ. तो जो मॉडरेट्स है उसका जो प्रेयर्स, पेटिशंस और मेमोरियल्स की पॉलिटिक्स था, इसको तो इन्होंने मतलब दे हैव जस्ट ब्रांडेड इट एज द पॉलिसी ऑफ पॉलिटिकल मेंडिकेंसी. उसको इन्होंने राजनीतिक भिक्षावृत्ति की संज्ञा दे के उसको बर्खास्त कर दिया. इन इट्स प्लेस दे गिव एम्फेसिस ओवर द मेथड ऑफ पैसिव रेजिस्टेंस, और पैसिव रेजिस्टेंस और यू कैन से उसको कहते हैं निष्क्रिय प्रतिरोध हिंदी में. तो ये पैसिव रेजिस्टेंस इसकी पद्धति क्या थी तो मैं आपको समझा चुका हूं. 4 प्रोग्राम के बारे में बता दीजिए. स्वदेशी, बाइकॉट, नेशनल एजुकेशन एंड स्वराज और सेल्फ गवर्नमेंट. देन दिस न्यू अप्रोच, न्यू टेस्ट in place of glorifying western model, in place of glorifying western model, extremist leaders were attracted to Indian past and culture. They talked about the supremacy of Indian past and culture. And then there are the 3 aspects. One, new approach, new taste, and then new direction. Then in new direction you can say in place of you can say promoting the politics of prayer, in politics of memorials and the politics of you can say the petitions, in place of politics of prayers, they gave emphasis over the over the politics of revolution. And here you have to mention about Swadeshi movement. This question is having the 3 aspects. My friends, will you try this question? Then I will discuss again tomorrow. Ankur, just ask them. Please, you have to give a hint. Will you try this question? My students, be fast. Yes or no? Yes. Now, my students, so this aspect is over, and on 10th, I have already provided you the study material in advanced Indian national movement between 1907 to 1914 and Indian national movement between 1914 to 1919. So now I am moving to the new topic and part third. No, not at all. You have to simply mention about the three aspect. Pavitra, three aspect. क्वेश्चन में ध्यान रखिए, उतना ही लिखिए जितना क्वेश्चन डिमांड कर रहा है, उससे ज्यादा मत जाइए. Pay attention to the diagram. I am just coming in 1 minute. Please stay here. I am just coming. And my friends, you are just moving to this movement because here I have given you the detailed information. Politics in India after Surat split. So loss of confidence on the moderate politics, failure of the extremist movement, revolutionary nationalism within India, Bengal Anushilon Samiti, Maharashtra Chapekar brothers, Savarkar brothers, Mitra Mela 1899, Abhinav Bharat 1984, on foreign land London India House Syamji Krishna Verma, Canada Taraknath Das, G.D. Kumar, America Foundation of the Gadar Party 1913, growth of communalism, that is the politics India after the Surat split, you know, and that is growth of communalism, separate electorate 1999, and change in the politics of the Muslim League and the resolution of the Swaraj, resolution for Swaraj. Okay, anyway. So my friends, now this is your diagram. I am making you this diagram. You have to follow this diagram once again in the manual form as well, so that you will be more clear. Dekho, that is Indian national movement, you know. Indian national movement, just 1 minute. Indian national movement. Okay, we have to find the term like Indian national movement. Up here you know that is 1907 to 1914. This is the major topic because you have to divide the progress of Indian nationalism, or you can say Indian national movement, in different, you can say, stages. The story started from proto-nationalist movement, you recall, then proto-nationalist, then the first war of independence, then the rise of modern nationalism, you know, socialist reforms movement or Indian Renaissance. Then we have moved to the political issues, say the Indian National Congress, then moderate to extremist phase in 1885 to 1907, and then now we have reached from up to 1907, then 1907 to 1914. The next step would be, for that I have already provided to the study material. जैसे हम उसके लिए भी आपको अध्ययन सामग्री प्रदान कर दिया है 1907 से 1914 और 1914 से 1919 यानी फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर के इम्पैक्ट तक. So you will move, and then from 1919 to the next step, I will make you familiar with Gandhi, arrival of Gandhi and the initial movement of Gandhi in India. Then we have to move from 1920 onwards further. The one diagram would be 1920 to 1929. The next diagram would be 1929 to 1939. The next diagram would be, once again, the next diagram would be 1939 to 1945. And then the last 2 years, 1945 to 1947. So there would your, you can say the part third would be over, and then you have to cover the topic like post-independence era. It is slightly time taking, you can say. But my friends, here I have to inform you, this is the point here, you know, and you people have to be conscious about the fact whenever you are making a study of the national movement, so the two trends are just going side by side, the progress of nationalism and the progress of, you can say, communalism. Here you can say that is nationalism, and that will be communalism. In nationalism, there are the three issues. Moderate politics, was discredited. Moderate politics was discredited. मतलब कि जो उदारवादी नेतृत्व है उसने अपनी विश्वसनीयता खो दी, अपना विश्वास खो दिया. Decline of extremist phase, the extremist leadership, or you can say extremist politics. This is the second one trend. Progress of revolutionary nationalism. Progress of revolutionary nationalism. Three trends are visible here, you know, three trends. Then you are coming to communalism. If you mention here, even if the single one factor you are going to mention here, and the single one factor is what? So that is separate electorate of 1909, यहीं पर जाके हमारा ये पॉइंट एंड हो जाएगा। कितना देखो कितना सुगम है, कितना सहज है। कंटेंट आई हैव जस्ट गिवन टू इन द एडवांस, यू हैव टू सिंपली assimilate and digest it. Where you find problem, everything is going to be crystal clear. अब here you have to find out what happened. You have to find out the split of Surat, the Congress split at Surat. It proved a trendsetter in that sense. It gave a new jerk to Indian politics, new jerk to Indian politics in what way? So अब you know कि in fact you already know the fact that moderate leaders, so they believed in the politics of prayers, petitions and memorials. They believed in the politics of petitions, and they were having some fascination for the British rule in India. You can say British Raj in India. They were having the Western outlook. So they were not enthusiastic about the movement, but under the extremist pressure, they had to join the Swadeshi movement at that time. Even in course of Swadeshi movement, they were basically, in course of the Swadeshi, or although they joined the Swadeshi movement, but while you can say moving through Swadeshi movement, they were always having a vacillated approach, and a vacillating approach, whether to go or not to go. So they were not happy with the method of movement which was imposed over them by extremist leadership, because under the proposal they had to, on the basis of the partition of Bengal in 1905, Swadeshi movement started. Moderate politicians were not in a mood to favor the movement, but under the extremist pressure they were doing. But once the split of Surat occurred, मतलब कि उदारवादी नेता कभी भी इस तरह के मूवमेंट के पॉलिटिक्स से खुश नहीं थे, किंतु उनको एक्सट्रीमिस्ट प्रेशर में, एक्सट्रीमिस्ट वर्ग यानी जो उग्रवादी नेता हैं उनके दबाव में उनको करना पड़ा, तो हमेशा वो पीछे पांव खींचने के चक्कर में होते थे। और जब सूरत में जब कांग्रेस का विभाजन हो गया तो उनका रास्ता खुल गया, तो वो फिर एक बार मतलब मॉडरेट लीडरशिप वंस अगेन रिटर्न टू इट्स पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ पिटिशन। So already my students, you are well aware of the fact that the moderate leadership was not enjoying the goodwill of the common people at that time, because they were having the anglicized approach in their life. They were having the westernized outlook, and they were not having the confidence in the politics of the common people. So obviously you can say that the common people were not having respectability for them. And particularly after the split of Surat, they almost became detached with the common people. And the common people were basically having you can say the common people were not having any sort of corner for the moderate politics in future. So basically this moderate politics was discredited further after the split at सूरत। मतलब आपको यहाँ पर सूचना मिलती है कि जब सूरत का विभाजन हुआ तो उदारवादी नेता की जो भी बची खुची छवि थी वो खराब हो गई। Then you are coming to the next one point. This is the first one point. The second one point is what? So that is decline of extremist politics. Decline of extremist politics, in fact, when the extremist leaders became active within Indian National Congress, it definitely caught up the attention of the British government, and British government was scared about the extremist politics in growing extremist politics in India. So British government was just waiting for the opportunity how the British government might have cracked down on the extremist leaders at that time. So far as the moderate and extremist leaders, they were bound together in course of the movement. So British, in spite of the best of the efforts, the British could not, you can say, touch the extremist leaders at that time. But once the split at Surat occurred, so then the British government was emboldened further, and then the British government took action against the extremist leaders. Up, my students will come to know that actually it was in course of the Swadeshi movement itself. There were some sort of, and there occurred some sort of, you can say, revolutionary movement, revolutionary activities. Revolutionary activities means कि throwing of bomb, killing of officers, etc. It occurred in Bengal. Khudiram Bose, Prafull Chaki, and some, you can say, revolutionaries became active in course of the Swadeshi movement, and Arvind Ghosh was an ideologue to extremist, you can say, to revolutionary leaders as well, because he was sympathizing the cause of the revolutionary leaders, and his younger brother Barendra Kumar Ghosh was an active revolutionary, So there was the Alipur conspiracy case. Alipur conspiracy case was, you can say, just slapped on the revolutionaries of that time, and even Arvind Ghosh was brought under the purview, and Arvind Ghosh was, you can say, arrested on the basis of this so-called Alipur conspiracy case. But due to the lack of evidence, finally Arvind Ghosh was released, and he was, you can say, he was released finally, and after that the Arvind Ghosh just returned to his ashrama, his personal ashrama. He took the political renunciation, उन्होंने राजनीतिक संन्यास ले लिया, and after taking political renunciation he just went to Pondicherry, that was a French region, and he established there an ashrama and he started the life of an ascetic there. तो मतलब आपको यहाँ सूचना यह मिलती है कि जो अरविंद घोष थे, वो जैसे ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट पहले से इस ताक में थी कि कब एक्सट्रीमिस्ट और मॉडरेट लीडर्स के बीच डिफरेंसेस हो और हम एक्सट्रीमिस्ट लीडर्स को दबाएं, उन्हें मजा चखाएं। वो मौका मिला सूरत के विभाजन के बाद। तो पहले तो उन्होंने अरविंद घोष को धर पकड़ा, चूंकि स्वदेशी मूवमेंट के दरमियान कुछ क्रांतिकारी घटनाएं हुई थी, उसमें कुछ क्रांतिकारी सक्रिय थे, जिसमें अरविंद घोष ने उनके साथ थोड़ी सिंपैथी भी रखी हुई थी, और उनके छोटे भाई वारिंद्र कुमार घोष एक्टिव भी थे, इसलिए उनको गिरफ्तार कर लिया गया अलीपुर षड्यंत्र केस के तहत, अलीपुर कॉन्स्पिरेसी केस के तहत। और हालांकि उनको एविडेंस नहीं मिला तो रिलीज हो गए, और रिलीज होने के बाद वो पौंडीचेरी चले गए, जो फ्रेंच रीजन था, जहां वो ज़्यादा महफूज थे, और वहां पर आश्रम बनाकर एक राजनीतिक सन्यासी का जीवन जीने लगे। तो खैर वो तो वहां पर अरविंद घोष सीन से आउट हो गए। देन कम्स द टर्न ऑफ बाल गंगाधर तिलक। एक्चुअली इनफैक्ट द चार्ज ऑफ सेडिशन, जिसको राजद्रोह का आरोप कहते हो, on the basis of the IPC article 124A, on the basis of the same article, later Gandhi was arrested. On the basis of the same article, later Gandhi was arrested in course of the non-cooperation movement, which I will discuss with you later. And surprisingly, it was the same Judge Broomfield who awarded a 6-year punishment, jail punishment to Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and the same Judge Broomfield had to award the same punishment to Gandhi as well in future. तो उनको 6 वर्षों की सजा मिली बाल गंगाधर तिलक को राजद्रोह के आरोप में, और he was sent to Mandalay jail. Mandalay was in Burma, in the Mandalay jail, and he languished in the jail up to 1814. So even the Bal Gangadhar Tilak was out of the scene, वो scene से बाहर हो गए। Then Lala Lajpat Rai, he just moved to America. He made and toured to America, and Ajit Singh was another extremist leader, so he made a trip to Europe. So all the leaders were dispersed here and there. The extremist, you can say, movement automatically declined. Then comes the turn of progress of revolutionary nationalism. What is revolutionary nationalism? I am making clear. I will discuss with you. Abhishek, have patience. Alipur conspiracy case I will discuss in course of the revolutionary politics, My students, here firstly I have to make you clear 1 and 2 things. I have to make you clear the revolutionary. Revolutionary was a group of youths who believed in the, you can say, some method of violence to promote their cause. And this method of violence was adopted against an unpopular and cruel British officer. So they were having an agenda to kill or assassinate the unpopular and cruel British officers, first one. And the second one, to for to do the Swadeshi Dakati means ki to collect the fund, and after doing the Swadeshi Dakati means ki that is the plundering, but it is the Swadeshi because it was with a good cause, and you can say then to collect the weapons, हथियारों का संग्रह करना, and to publish the revolutionary literature to impress the other youths. So these were the certain methods by the revolutionaries, you know. मतलब इनका काम होता था जो अलोकप्रिय और क्रूर ब्रिटिश अधिकारी उनकी हत्या करना, स्वदेशी डकैती करके फंड इकट्ठा करना और उस धन से हथियारों का संग्रह करना और फिर क्रांतिकारी साहित्य का प्रकाशन करना, ये सब इनके कुछ एजेंडे में शामिल थे. So my friends, you will just come to realize कि this politics, you know what is the revolutionary politics. So revolutionary politics, modern type of revolutionary activities you can say, इनको कहते थे पहले, they were initially characterized and called revolutionary terrorist. But this term was used even Bipin Chandra in his book. If you will go through the book of Bipin Chandra, whenever you find the term revolutionary terrorist, because even in my student life, even we people were using the same term, because at that time there was not the rise of fundamentalism and terrorism in the world. So even that word terrorist term was not banned for the revolutionaries at that time. They were common. All the scholars were almost using the same term. The mistake was committed after that in the new books, you can say in the book is the old version of 1988. So that was not changed the name. So that's why, you know, the revolutionary terrorist continued to be used. But the better term is revolutionary nationalist. You will always use the term revolutionary nationalist, not revolutionary terrorist. आपको क्रांतिकारी राष्ट्रवादी शब्द का यूज करना है. So my point is what you know as the modern type of revolutionary activities, you will find the first modern type of example of the first modern type of revolutionary activities, that is from Maharashtra, because revolutionary ideas firstly impressed or caught up the Chitpavan Brahmins of Maharashtra. In Maharashtra, you can say that there was a larger number of Chitpavan Brahmins, so they were under the influence of this politics of this revolutionary politics, you can say. And then the idea even traveled to the Bhadraloks of Bengal. Up Chitpavan Brahmins, that is the specific caste, you know, in Maharashtra. So Bhadralok was also a specific caste in Bengal. In Bengal, you can say there was not the sufficient Brahmanization. It was out of the pale of you can say Brahmanization, you know, Bengal. In Bengal, there was the rise of a caste that was an elite caste. It was called Bhadralok. So this revolutionary idea even influenced the Bhadraloks. In Chitpavan Brahmins in Maharashtra, you will find the first example of the revolutionary activities. You might have heard the name of Chapekar brothers. So Chapekar brothers assassinated. There was a plague officer, British plague officer. His name was Mr. Rand, and his assistant Mr. Ayast. Actually, they forcefully entered into the house of the people in order to search out whether there is the dead mouse, because in order to put a check on the plague, it had to search out that the house is neat and clean or not. So this Chapekar brothers, you can say, take it, you can say, as a humiliation to Indian women, because Indian women were just living under the curtain, the parda, and encroaching their private domain. The officers were entering from house to house. So having been upset at this reality, Chapekar brothers just take an attempt on his life and killed Mr. Rand and Ayast. It became the latter, he was given death sentence. So it was the first example and first evidence of the modern type of revolutionary activity, you can say. मतलब ये आपको जो क्रांतिकारी घटना का पहला उदाहरण आपको महाराष्ट्र में मिलता है. चित्पावन ब्राह्मण्स वहाँ के एक खास जाति है, और बंगाल में भद्रलोक एक खास जाति है. उसमें विचार आया, पहले चित्पावन ब्राह्मण्स में गया तो चापेकर बंधु ने एक प्लेग कमिश्नर मिस्टर रैंड और उसके असिस्टेंट अयस्ट की हत्या कर दी. So this was the case of assassination. Then you will come to know that there was the rise of Savarkar brothers. Ganesh Savarkar, he was the elder brother, and then B.D. Savarkar, he was the younger one. So both the brothers initiated the formation of an organization in 1899 first, that was called Mitra Mela, and then in 1904 both the brothers just formed an organization. You might have heard the name, and that is Abhinav Bharat. You will come to know that that was Abhinav Bharat, and this organization was formed in 1904. So V.D. Savarkar and Ganesh Savarkar, V.D. Savarkar became active. In Bengal, what happened, in Bengal you will come to realize that basically there was in course of the Swadeshi movement itself, this revolutionary activities started to manifest itself. मतलब बंगाल में सबसे पहले स्वदेशी आंदोलन के मध्य ही इस तरह के जो रेवोल्यूशनरी घटनाएं थी, क्रांतिकारी घटनाएं थी, वो धीरे धीरे प्रकट होने लगी. Because you will come to realize in Bengal कि in Bengal there was the formation of certain secret societies, because the revolutionaries were working in the form of the secret societies, and then these societies functioned as a cultural society. The society will come to know that this society just functioned as cultural society. For example, Anushilan Samiti. You might have heard about a Samiti. Anushilan Samiti. Even Anushilan Samiti is of the two types. One was the Calcutta Anushilan Samiti, another was the Dhaka Anushilan Samiti. So Calcutta Anushilan Samiti was formed by P. Mitra and Barendra Kumar Ghosh. In Dhaka Anushilan Samiti was formed by Pulind Das. So you can say that there was the formation of certain committees, etc. So in Bengal and in the committees, and then Stande committee, Kal committee, so many secret committees were formed. Now you can say that the revolutionaries were targeting the unpopular officers. They were the unpopular officers or the cruel officers. For example, you can say there was a judge from Muzaffarpur in Bihar. You might have heard the name. So Muzaffarpur in Bihar, there was a very unpopular judge. His name was Kingsford. So he used to treat Indians in very savvily, in very savvy, you can say savvily manner. They used to, castigate them. They used to humiliate them. They used to vituperative language against them, and they consciously awarding the very severe punishment to Indians. मतलब उसने बहुत ज़्यादा क्रूरता दिखा रखी थी जज किंग्सफोर्ड ने. So there you can say in Calcutta, you can say revolutionaries, two revolutionaries were dispatched against him two revolutionaries were deputed to assassinate him. One was Khudiram Bose, another was Praful Chaki. They made an attempt on his life. He was coming in a buggy. Buggy was in some sort of horse carrier. So in a horse carrier, he was just coming, but in the meantime, he threw the bomb. They threw the bomb, but unfortunately, in this buggy, in this horse carrier, there was the two innocent lady, Mrs. Kennedy and Miss Kennedy. They were killed, and at that time, the judge was not traveling. So this revolutionaries became too much shocked, and this Praful Chaki, he was so shocked he committed suicide, and Khudiram Bose was later, you can say, caught up and he was hanged. तो इस तरह से खुदीराम बोस पकड़ा गया या प्रफुल्ल चाकी ने आत्महत्या कर ली. Then you can say revolutionary, just कि there was a local revolutionary in Bengal. His name was Hemchand Kanungo. So he laid the foundation of a bomb factory at Maniktala in Calcutta. He was running a very secret bomb factory. So this bomb factory came to light, and recently who has asked me the question, so I am forgetting the name unfortunately. He has asked me the question, what is Alipur conspiracy case? Alipur is the name of a place in Bengal, and there some revolutionaries were caught up while doing some sort of conspiracy against the British Empire. So the whole case was named after Alipur. So it was given the name the Alipur conspiracy case. Conspiracy means Saryantra. Alipur Saryantra case का नाम दिया गया. And a number of revolutionaries in Bengal were just arrested under this Alipur conspiracy case, and Barendra Kumar Ghosh and many other revolutionaries, you can say Hemchand Kanungo and many others, and most of them were given, many of them were given death sentence, and many of them were given the life imprisonment. Barendra Kumar Ghosh was initially, he was given the death sentence, but thanks to C.R. Das, he was a very reputed lawyer, so he did the hard work in order to save Barendra Kumar Ghosh, and through his continuous effort, he finally saved Virendra Kumar Ghosh. Not Virendra Kumar Ghosh was not released, but his death sentence was commuted to life imprisonment at least. तो उनके डेथ सेंटेंस को लाइफ इम्प्रिजनमेंट में कम्यूट किया गया बाद में, और अरविंद घोष उसमें अरेस्ट हुए थे, बट ड्यू टू द लैक ऑफ एविडेंस लेटर ही वाज रिलीज्ड. So he just went to Pondicherry Ashrama. So that was Alipur conspiracy case. So this was. Up here, there was a mastermind in Delhi at that time. His name was, Ras Bihari Bose. जो later he became an assist. He started to assist Subhash Chandra Bose later. I will just discuss with you. So Ras Bihari Bose, he was a mastermind, And what happened in Delhi in 1911-12? There is a very interesting story. In 1911, this partition of Bengal was annulled. मतलब जो partition of Bengal है वो समाप्त कर दिया गया 1911 में. And in 1912 there was a transfer of capital from Calcutta to Delhi. Announcement was made in 1911, but actual transfer was implemented in 1912. In 1912, you can say when Delhi was just inaugurated as a new capital, this inauguration ceremony was carried on under Viceroy, and under Viceroy you can say Lord Hardinge. So Lord Hardinge was just riding on an elephant and he was leading a procession entering into the new capital. It was just a ceremony, So he was just moving on the road, and on both the sides, you can say there were houses, and some houses were the multi-stories. In the multi-story houses, you can say the women were just standing on their, you can say, rooftop and taking, you can say, taking some, utensil in his hand with flowers, and the women were throwing flowers in order to welcome the Viceroy in the new capital. So this procession and ceremony was going on. But in the meantime, you can say there was some Indian revolutionaries, and Ras Bihari Bose was the mastermind, and some revolutionaries were Basant Biswas and many others. So they basically taking a bomb in place of flowers. They just clad in a sari, after being a sari clad in the guise of a woman, they wore the sari, and in the guise of the women they moved on the rooftop, and in place of throwing flower they threw the bomb on Hardinge. Elephant was seriously injured. Hardinge was seriously injured, even the elephant was injured, and this, you can say, elephant keeper, he was died at the spot. मतलब बड़ा विचित्र स्थिति हुई. वो नई कैपिटल में लॉर्ड हार्डिंग प्रवेश कर रहा था हाथी पर बैठकर, और उसके सम्मान में जब नए तरह से सेरेमनी था, प्रोसेशन था उसका, और जो विमन थी, महिलाएं, वो अपने अपने छत पर खड़े होकर और फूल बरसा रही थी उसके ऊपर, हाथ में थाल में फूल लिए हुए. उसमें बसंत बिस्वास और कुछ और रेवोल्यूशनरीज छत पर चले गए महिला के वेश में, साड़ी पहनकर, और उन्होंने फ्लावर की जगह बॉम्ब फेंक दिया उस पर. तो हार्डिंग बहुत बुरी तरह इंजर्ड हुआ, और हाथी भी उसका इंजर्ड हुआ, और प्लस उसका जो महावत था, जो एलिफेंट कीपर था, वो तो स्पॉट पर ही डेथ हो गया. तो देन Ras Bihari Bose fled away from the site and he moved to Singapore. So he was waiting in the Singapore, and there he formed an Indian Independence League, and he was working in Singapore. So later he will started to work along with Subhash Chandra Bose. So this is the episode. Now I am just moving to the foreign land, because gradually the revolutionaries moved to the foreign land as well. So later you will come to know, in fact in foreign land it was Shyamji Krishna Varma. Jesse Shyamji Krishna Varma, he was from Bengal. What is temperature, Mr. Ankur? Slightly you can increase. Shyamji Krishna Varma. So he formed an organization that is called India House. India House at London. Gradually, my friend, the revolutionaries, the different revolutionaries, they are just moving to the different destinations, and they are just moving to different destinations, So first, a group of revolutionaries just moved to London, and they formed their Shyamji Krishna Verma was at that time the leader, and he formed the so-called India House. In India House, but later the B.D. Savarkar. The career of B.D. Savarkar is very interesting. Here I have to inform you, क्योंकि B.D. Savarkar के बारे में आप लोग भी दिलचस्पी रखते होंगे, तो मैं थोड़ा सा B.D. Savarkar के बारे में आपको बताऊं. उनका कैरियर बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग है. Actually, B.D. Savarkar, at the you can say at the support of the Tilak, he got a scholarship for a study of law at London in India. So he moved for London for taking the law degree and for the study of law. But after moving to London, he joined India House, and he captured India House, rather, you can say. He just virtually, you can say, increased his influence of India House, and then he became a great ideologue to revolutionaries there. Revolutionaries के great ideologues वो बन गए. And V.D. Savarkar was at London at that time, India House. And here I have to share with you a very interesting episode. Actually, Gandhiji, he was in South Africa. Later I will discuss with you. So when he was carrying a politics in South Africa, he was fighting against the, you can say, this policy of racial discrimination in South Africa. So he just moved to London at that time, I think in 1909-10 possibly. So in 1908-9. So he just went there in order to make contact with the Indian community in London to seek the support on his cause in South India. To seek the support for his cause in South Africa. So he moved to India House as well. At that time, India House was working very secretly. On surface level, you will find that there were a number of students who were sitting there and they were making a study. But the truth was that they are not the students, they are, in one sense, they were the revolutionaries, you can say. Less student and more revolutionary. So when Gandhiji reached there, so it was the first confrontation between Gandhi and Savarkar. So Gandhi was just sat there and he started to talk to Savarkar, and Savarkar was at that time at a frying pan. At a frying pan, he was just frying the prawn fish. मतलब सावरकर उसमें प्रॉन मछली तल रहे थे. So after frying the fish, then Savarkar offered in a plate some prawn to Gandhiji as well. So Gandhiji told कि no, I am a vegetarian, I am a staunch vegetarian, I am not taking fish at all. So then Savarkar took a smile and told, are you a vegetarian? Then how will you fight against the British? मतलब आप एक शाकाहारी होकर ब्रिटिश के अगेंस्ट में कैसे लड़ोगे? ये स्टेटमेंट था वी.डी. सावरकर का. But it was the differences from the very from the very beginning, the differences started between Gandhiji and V.D. Savarkar. Then Savarkar became an ideologue and he provoked Madan Lal Dhingra to kill a British officer, Curzon Wyllie, in 1909. So Madan Lal Dhingra, he went from India to getting education for engineering. So he was just getting there, joining an engineering college in London. But later he was just, you can say, converted to this revolutionary ideas, and he was widely influenced by the revolutionary ideas under V.D. Savarkar, and then he assassinated a British officer, Curzon Wyllie, in 1909, and he was given the death sentence. So Gandhiji later realized that India House is not, you can say, a suitable organization. Later he came to believe that India House is possibly, you can say, basically a strong base for the revolutionary politics in London. So later you come to realize that in V.D. Savarkar, after that the story of V.D. Savarkar starts. The elder brother of V.D. Savarkar was Ganesh Savarkar. So at that time at Nasik there was a district collector, his name was Jackson. So Jackson was the district collector, and Ganesh Savarkar, Jackson slapped a very serious charge on Ganesh Savarkar. He was at Nasik and V.D. Savarkar was at London. So Ganesh Savarkar, he was arrested by Jackson, and Jackson slapped a very serious charge against him, and he was sent to Andaman Nicobar after giving a life imprisonment. So as he was sent to Andaman Nicobar Island in cellular jail, so B.D. Savarkar was upset at this behavior of this district collector. So he, being a mastermind, managed his assassination from London. So Jackson was assassinated in India, in Nasik, and he was the district collector was assassinated. You can say अब जिला कलेक्टर की हत्या हो गई जैक्सन की नासिक में, तो व्यापक धरपकड़ शुरू हुई, उसकी सूत्र लंदन तक पहुंच गया. So charge was brought against V.D. Savarkar, and V.D. Savarkar was arrested in London in 1911. And as basically the trial had to made in India itself, because he has committed an offence according to the British rule in India. So he had to brought from London to India. So in 1911, B.D. Savarkar in a ship, he was just coming to India while in a ship. It was when the ship was at just near the bank of France. So V.D. Savarkar, while you can say using the commode of the toilet, he just slipped into the sea and he fled away, and he tried to flee away, but he was caught up again by the public, and then the British has brought him, and then he was given the double life imprisonment. If there could not have been another sort of happening, and he could not have given the mercy by the British, so he might have languished in jail up to 1960. It is another thing, after 1947 he might have been released because India got freedom, but according to the time calculation, he had to be released in 1960. Although he survived up to 1966 in real life, but if he could have been languishing in jail, so he could not have survived even up to 1960, you know. तो खैर B.D. Savarkar, और वहाँ पर उनको ले जाया गया सेलुलर जेल, and it was here, but after 18 months, so he feel different sorts of torture, torturous behavior by the British. So B.D. Savarkar virtually he broke down after 18 months, and he wrote the first mercy petition to the British, and then one by one he just wrote several mercy petitions to the British. He will just maintain that good conduct, good character, and I am promising I never do any offense against the British Empire in future. And then in 1921 he was finally brought to India, and then between 1921 to 24 he remained in Ratnagiri jail, which was his hometown, and then he was again sent to Yerawada jail, and then finally in 1927 he was released. But up to some time in future, he had to remain, you can say, confined to his own region, Ratnagiri. He was not allowed to go outside. मतलब उनको रत्नागिरी में ही रहना था. And finally he was given the release, you can say the freedom to move elsewhere, after he wrote his 6th mercy petition to Lilithgow. He was the viceroy, and he even gave the promise that I am having the influence on the youth, and under my influence even the you can say youth will remain under my influence. Youths are under my influence, so due to my support to the British Empire, even the British Empire would enjoy the support of Indian youth as well. So in this way he could take he was finally released, and then in 1938 he became finally the head of Hindu Mahasabha, and then there was a new trajectory of his career now, because he moved from revolutionary politics to the politics of Hindu Mahasabha. In this way, it was about the B.D. Savarkar. So that's why you can say he has always remained to be the center of controversy. To what extent he was a revolutionary, and to what extent he championed the cause of the so-called Hindu Mahasabha. So there was, because he was after all a great revolutionary, he had, you can say, felt the pain of this Sajaye Kala Pani, you can say, in Andaman Nicobar. But after, as he sought the mercy, he did the mercy petition. मतलब उन्होंने चूंकि ब्रिटिश सरकार से क्षमा मांग ली, इसीलिए उन पर ब्लॉट लग गया, और फिर बाद में क्या हुआ कि उन्होंने जो हिंदू महासभा के मेंबर बने, तो इस कारण से उनके छवि थोड़ी धूमिल हुई और फिर दूसरी छवि बनी. खैर इसमें अभी हमें नहीं पढ़ना. आई विल डिस्कस दिस एस्पेक्ट लेटर. अब now here I have to inform you as some revolutionaries were active here, so some revolutionaries were active in, you can say, Canada, in America as well. But my students, now time is over and you people have already attended the class in geography and doing history, so you should not, you can say, more than 2 hours would be burdensome for you. So I am stopping here. I will just continue my discussion tomorrow and at the same point, but I have to deal with certain questions as well. For example, you people have to do, you have to go through revolutionary politics. Just try to find out revolutionary politics. Kamagata Maru case, I will discuss this aspect, growth of communalism, and then you have to cover the first part. Okay, so up to this point you have to make a study, follow the diagram, and then literature, then the second diagram. When that will be finished, you can go through the second diagram as well. Means ki I will finish the first aspect, then I will deal with the question. I will give you a question, you people will accept कि I will answer the question, then well and good. मतलब आप अगर उस क्वेश्चन का जवाब दे देंगे तो मैं आपको फ्री कर दूंगा, और क्वेश्चन का जवाब नहीं दिया तो मैं फिर आपको डिक्टेट करवाऊंगा. तो मैं स्टूडेंट्स, तो मैं कल, yes Ankur, I am just returning to you. Once you have to raise your finger, that is enough to inform me. Till that is not sound problem or any other emergency problem. So this is the point here. So tomorrow I will continue first. I will finish this part and then I will make the another diagram discussed. Mr. Ankur, what is your question? प्रोटो नेशनलिस्ट नहीं था, तो नेशनलिस्ट ही, मॉडर्न नेशनलिस्ट, बिकॉज अप टू दैट पीरियड प्रोटो नेशनलिस्ट फेज हैज ऑलरेडी ओवर, and he was in one sense the nationalist because he was already influenced, under the influence of the modern ideas, you can say. So better to brand him as the nationalist, not the proto nationalist. But after all, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan was having some sort of problem, and the problem was that basically he got associated with, after all, a Muslim politics, so he became the pro-Raj. Pavitra, revolutionaries were the separate group. Extremists were basically, extremist believes in the politics and he political organization. I mean, he differed with the moderate methods, but it does not mean that he was a revolutionary. Revolutionary was a separate breed, separate group, Pavitra. So my students, today I am stopping here. I will continue tomorrow. मैं आज यहीं रुकता हूं, कल मैं फिर आप लोगों को जारी करूंगा. मुझे लगता है कि यू आर ओके होगे और समझ में आ रहा होगा. ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच. आई विल सी यू.